is 10 a.m. in Hong Kong and the first minute into the trading session. The Hang Seng Index still waiting for the first trade to cross, but it starts the day out at 19,692. Shares of Coles Group climb on expectations of bigger offers for the company. The retailer says it will now allow a maximum of 6 bidders in consortiums. Airline Partners says it is undeterred in its bid for Qantas. The group has gotten a 30% stake in Qantas so far. Australia's Prime Minister John Howard tells CNBC this is one for the markets to decide. And crude oil gains as Tehran says it will continue with its nuclear program despite new sanctions from the UN. You're watching a brand new program this morning, CNBC's Cash Flow, where we're focused on one simple goal, to help you capitalize on the day's news flow. I'm Maura Fogarty. We'll give you the bottom line on those stories and more throughout the show, and here's how we're going to do it. What's a good target price for Coles? The sales process well underway, with institutional buyers ignoring the earnings out today, focusing instead on the wider bidding circle. Angus Geddes, CEO at Fat Profits, gives us his latest forecast on the stock. And Grange Securities is still holding on to its forecast of no rate hike by the RBA next week. That contradicts the view of many of its market peers. Find out why it says policymakers aren't ready to push lending costs up just yet. First, Hong Kong has been open for about 2 minutes now. Let's get the early movers in that market. Betty, what's moving?
Hi, good morning there, Maura. Looks like an exciting show today. Well, over in Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index is trading slightly higher, up by about 0.2%. We had a slight rally over on Wall Street on Friday. That is giving a little bit of a tiny boost to the Hang Seng Index. You can see it is still well above that 19,000 point level. In fact, above 19,500. A couple of stocks in focus. Of course, you want to watch the telecom companies. China Telecom, the big fixed line operator over the mainland, is reporting its full year results. Expected to be up by about 9%, according to Merrill Lynch. Back to you, Maura.
All right, thank you very much there, Betty. In the major markets across Asia right now, the Topix just wrapping up its morning session. That market, get that number for you there, is at 1,735, a touch lower today. It is down 0.4%. The rest of the region seems to be holding up pretty well. The Kospi is higher by just 1 point. In Australia, the S&P ASX 200 is up right now by 0.5%, despite the fact that we're seeing Qantas shares down more than 1% right now. Arnold Gay has the details on the stories that you'll need to watch this morning. Arnold, we're seeing lots of stocks on the move today. Coles, Qantas, give us some details here.
Well, I'll tell you about what's happening in Japan right now. Sanyo Electric Credit, one company that's in the news this morning. This after GE, the parent of this company, put in a bid for this company worth about 1.14 billion. Let's have a look at the shares. It's not trading yet this morning, but let's have a look at the bid ask at the moment. 24.10. That is a 25% premium to the last closing price on Friday. And you're looking at the stock hitting a limit when it does open, if it does open for trading this morning as well. Don't forget the price that GE is offering, 32.50. That's a 62% premium to Friday's closing price for Sanyo Electric Credit. Let's get out to Australia, where Coles, the retailer, the number 2 retailer in Australia, also in focus as well. This after the Coles came out with slightly better than expected earnings for the interim period. It came out with earnings at 501.3 million versus 48.4.5. But the bigger news, really, the stock is reacting. Traders say because Coles is about to KKR and says it will now consider all options for the sale of the company, not just 4 bidders and also not just a separate sale, if you like, 3 separate blocks as KKR, or as Coles rather was suggesting. That accounted for the rise on the 22nd there. And very quickly, let's get you out to Qantas, the stock off today as well. This after the Australian Prime Minister said the government will not interfere in the whole process involving APA. And you will recall the stock fell last week after BEM said no to 545. So Maura, a very busy day, and we can look forward to much more news on these stocks as well as the trading day goes on.
All right, thank you very much, Darren. We've found out what's happening with Qantas shares right now. Let's find out what's actually going on with Qantas and the implication for the private equity bid now that we've had some recent news out recently. Sri has all the details. What's the implication here for Qantas, Sri?
Maura, thank you very much indeed. Well, it isn't looking good at all. This takeover could very well not see the light of day, and that is one of the reasons why we are continuing to see Qantas shares decline well into the trading day. But we're about more than an hour into the trading day in Australia. Qantas shares down by 1.2%.